Email. And in the corner there you'll see spam, the scourge of the internet. And believe it or not, 80% of the email that is sent around the world, almost 60% of the traffic at a point in time was just spam, just email that we needed to delete once it hit our inbox. So it's not a great place to be working, and it's one of the most insecure things about the internet, so it's the place where we have to focus the most. It's also one of the oldest services around. It's 50 years old, and so over the years obviously they've worked a lot on trying to make mail better than what it was when we started. But when you start with something that is 50-year-old legacy, keeping it secure in a modern world is really, really difficult. So use a secure email service such as Office 365 or Gmail or something like that. These days, if we see something come from Yahoo, we pretty much ignore it because they're not very good at verifying people that sign up for an email account there. So a lot of spammers use Yahoo as a back end and stuff like that. Some simple stuff. It's really straightforward, logical stuff. Don't open email from strangers. Don't click on links without checking them, so hover over those things, make sure that you know where they're going before you go there. Never open attachments without checking them. Now, how would you do that kind of thing? In a lot of cases, you can use the preview window, and we'll mention it again down the bottom. But on your links, make sure that they make, on your links and attachments, make sure they make sense with the email that's been sent to you. So if Joe from accounting sent you an Excel spreadsheet, make sure that A, you're expecting that spreadsheet and that it is Joe that should be sending it to you. Those kind of basic checks should be done. You have to assume that poor Joe might have been hacked, and there might be malware on his device that is now trying to send you something. So you can't just assume because it comes from somebody that you know that it's okay. They may have tripped and fallen and opened the back door and let in the hackers. Be twice as cautious with email that is in your junk folder. So if you find something in your junk folder and you go, ooh, that looks like it should be something I should be reading, be careful. There's a reason it's sitting in your junk folder. There are hundreds and thousands of rules in the back end of email now that check and double check mail, and it'll have put it in the junk mail because it's triggered one of those rules. So when you are deciding to take something out of junk and put it in your inbox or to open it, just be double cautious. And don't forward email that you have not checked. So certainly when you're going to send an attachment that you got from someone else onto another party, make sure that you have double checked everything inside of there. One of the worst things that we're finding happening is that somebody picks up some malicious attachment and without really doing any due diligence on it, sends it on, and the next thing you know, half your company is infected with this thing. The other thing that is a really good practice is split personal and business. Have a personal email address, have a business email address. It's good anyway because as you move between companies, you've got some continuity on your personal email address for all the things that you don't want to have to go and change the email address on when you move. So things like your municipality bill and your banking statements and your life insurance policy updates should all go to a personal email address. And where you want to be cautious about stuff is in your personal space. You know, I'd far rather that you open a strange email address in your business space than your personal space, because typically we've made sure that we've secured that quite strongly. And you probably haven't done as good a job as making sure that your Gmail's as secure as what your business email is currently. So be very wary with your personal email. It has a lot of details that you don't want to have left out, and certainly it's not a place that you want to have exploited. All your banking details could be in there. You certainly don't want personal information getting out. And just to recap on the preview pane, a lot of things like Outlook have a little preview pane. Rather watch something in the preview pane than double click and open it, especially if you're unsure of it. The preview pane will not execute the code inside of an Excel spreadsheet, will not load the macros that are normally used to exploit your machine. And it'll give you a safe way of looking inside of a lot of these attachments without allowing the code that the hackers inserted into there to execute. And if you look at it in the preview pane and you decide that you don't want it or you don't necessarily need to open it any further, don't. It's safer not to open attachments.